Hi everyone, it's Joy from Artful Homemaking. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make soy candles. Many years ago, I shared a post about how to make soy candles on my blog, and it's been one of my most visited posts for all these years. So I thought it was time to make a video to go with that post. So first, here's what you're going to need to make homemade soy candles. So first you need some soy wax flakes, and I have a pound of soy wax here. This pound should fill up these 3 mason jars. So I have a pound of soy wax and I have the mason jars, and I'll put a link in the description below to the supplies you'll need, to the blog post I originally wrote, so it'll be, and just in case I forget anything. So we've got soy wax, we have jars, and I've already gone ahead and glued the wicks down, so you're going to need some wicks. And I use a glue gun to stick the wick in the jar, and that just holds it still so that it stays in the center of the jar. And I use clothespins. All those years ago I found out that clothespins worked the best, just sticking them through this little hole in the clothespin to hold the wick in the center of the jar. So clothespins, I have my wax melting pot. This is the one I've been using all these years, and it's perfect for melting soy wax. And I just have a wooden spoon that I got at a thrift store for stirring. And I have a thermometer. This is just a food thermometer. If you want to get fancy, you can also buy some of these lids that are really cute, and it makes the candles cute to give gifts. And then you can make your soy candles with or without fragrance. One of these days I'm going to do a tutorial for how to scent them with essential oils, but for today I'm just going to stick with, I have these little fragrance oil bottles, and that's what we're going to be using. For a double boiler, I'm just using a saucepan filled with a couple inches of water, and I'm going to stick this down into it. So let's get started. So we're just going to start by pouring the wax into your melting pot. That's the first step. And if you have a larger bag of wax, you might need a scale to weigh the wax so that you know that you have a pound of it. So, but this is pre-measured, it's pre-weighed, so I know I've got a pound here. So I just have put the soy wax in here, and I'm going to put this in my double boiler and let it start getting melted. As you can see, it starts to melt pretty quickly. I just now put the melting pot in my saucepan, and it's already starting to get melted. Then use your wooden spoon or whatever you have to stir the wax, and you don't just want to melt it, you also want to make sure that you're getting it to the right temperature. That will help your candle to burn better if you have it at the right temperature when you pour it. So I like to let mine get to about 170 to 180 degrees. So that's where the thermometer comes in. You want to take the temperature. Mine is almost at about 150, so it's almost ready to pour. So the temperature of your wax, the temperature you want it to get to, really depends on the type of wax you're using. So you might need to do a little bit of research to see what temperature to pour that particular wax at. But I'm using I'm gonna do 170 to 180. Okay, so my wax is ready. If you pour it too high of a temperature, you can have problems. If you pour it too low of a temperature, you can also have problems. And please do read the blog post, because the full instructions are in there. I feel like I'm forgetting to say something. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pour the wax in the jars. To add the fragrance oil right here to the jar and stir it around. If you want a foolproof method for adding fragrance oils, get as much as you're going to need, and usually I use 1 to 2 ounces for a pound of wax. Get a bottle that's 1 to 2 ounces and then add that to your whole thing of wax. All I had this time was these little bottles, so I just thought I would try mixing it in the jar. But as I mentioned, the blog post has the exact instructions for adding the fragrance oil, and I've had great success with that. Be sure and check out the blog post. set these finished poured candles aside and let them set up. And you're going to let them cool for 24 hours and let them cure for a few days before trimming the wicks to about 1/4 of an inch. I just want to add a quick note about using artificial fragrance oils in your candles. When I first started making soy candles, I always used the fragrance oils, and so my recipe on my blog reflects that. The process for making soy candles is the same. If you want to make them unscented, you can do the same thing, just leave out the fragrance oils, and that's the only difference. I totally understand our family has gotten away from using scented candles, and we tend to use our essential oil diffuser more than using scented candles. So I completely understand if using fragrance oils is not something you're comfortable with. I happen to just have these on hand, so I thought I'd use them today and just show how to add a fragrance oil. But it's not required for this tutorial. You can make these candles with no fragrance oils. You can try essential oils. I think you're gonna have to use quite a bit more. I'm hoping to do a tutorial in the future on soy candles with essential oils. So anyway, that's just a note about that. I understand completely that many of us do not want artificial fragrances in our homes, and there are very legitimate and good reasons why. And that's it. Please be sure to check out the blog post, which I will link below, which has full and complete instructions. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, I'd love for you to subscribe. I make videos on creating a simple, natural, handmade home, and I'd love for you to join us.